My name is Belva, and at 29 years old, I've always been the responsible older sister. The one who got good grades, worked hard, built a career. My younger sister Chloe was always the golden child, the favorite who could do no wrong even when she did everything wrong. So when my parents uninvited me from Thanksgiving dinner to protect her lies, I wasn't even surprised. What shocked me was what happened when her boyfriend Nathan walked through the door and said my name. I never imagined he already knew exactly who I really was. Before I tell you how Thanksgiving dinner turned into the most satisfying moment of my life, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Smash that like button and subscribe, because what happened when Nathan walked through that door was better than any revenge I could have planned. I'm a marketing director at a tech firm in Seattle, Washington. It took me years to get here. I started as an intern, right out of college, worked my way up through coordinator positions, spent nights getting my MBA from the University of Washington, while working full-time during the day. 8 months ago, I led a successful rebranding campaign for a major outdoor gear company, a direct competitor to REI. The campaign won me the Pacific Northwest Marketing Excellence Award. At 29, I became the youngest director in my company's history. I own a condo in Capitol Hill, Seattle's trendy neighborhood full of coffee shops and bookstores and people who actually read. I work 60-hour weeks to afford that down payment. I drive a car I bought myself, pay my own bills, built my life from the ground up with no help from anyone. Recently, I secured a $3 million contract with a sustainable fashion brand, and my bosses are already talking about another promotion. I'm telling you all this not to brag, but because you need to understand the contrast. You need to understand what my sister Chloe's life looks like compared to mine. Chloe is 26, 3 years younger than me. She still lives with our parents in their house in Bellevue. She's bounced between jobs since high school. Barista at 3 different coffee shops, each one ending because she overslept or didn't like the manager. Retail at the mall until she got bored. Social media coordinator for small businesses, posting Instagram photos and calling it marketing. Right now, she works part-time as an assistant at a boutique yoga studio, making barely enough to cover her car insurance. Except she doesn't even pay her car insurance. Our parents do. They bought her car a cute little Mazda that she posts all over social media. They gave her a credit card for emergencies that she uses for brunches and shopping. When she dropped out of community college after 1 year, because the classes were too early in the morning, they didn't even blink. Just said she needed time to find herself. Chloe is beautiful, I'll give her that. Blonde hair that catches the light, perfectly petite frame that looks good in everything. Smile that makes people want to help her. Her Instagram is carefully curated to look like she's living this amazing, successful life. Designer coffee cups, trendy restaurants, sunset photos with captions about gratitude and manifestation. You'd never know she lives in her childhood bedroom and can barely hold down a 20-hour-a-week job. Growing up, I learned early that achievement meant nothing in our house. I graduated high school with a 4.0 grade average and got a full scholarship to University of Washington. My parents took me to Olive Garden for dinner. Chloe passed her community college entrance exam after failing it twice, and they threw her a party with 50 people, a cake, decorations, the whole thing. I paid my own way through college with scholarships, student loans, and 3 part-time jobs. Chloe's community college was fully paid by our parents, and when she dropped out, they never mentioned the wasted tuition. I graduated summa cum laude with my bachelor's degree, and my parents came to the ceremony but left early because my mother had a headache. Chloe got hired at the yoga studio, and they took her out to a fancy steakhouse in downtown Seattle to celebrate. The pattern was clear. I was capable, so I didn't need praise or support. Chloe was fragile, so she needed constant encouragement and financial backing. When I got my MBA, my parents said that's nice on a phone call that lasted 3 minutes. When Chloe posted about teaching her first yoga class as a substitute instructor, they shared it on Facebook with paragraph-long captions about how proud they were. I stopped sharing my achievements with them years ago, stopped hoping they'd be excited for me, stopped expecting them to show up the way I showed up for them. But it still hurt, especially at family gatherings when Chloe was the center of attention, and I might as well have been invisible. 3 months ago, everything shifted. Chloe showed up at Sunday family dinner, glowing, practically vibrating with excitement. She had news. A boyfriend. A serious boyfriend. His name was Nathan. He was 32, older and established. He worked in tech. She said something important, though she was vague on the details. Our parents were thrilled. Finally, someone stable for Chloe. Finally, someone who might be a good influence, help her get her life together. My mother actually teared up. Maybe he'll help her see her potential, she said. My father nodded approvingly. Make sure you impress him, Chloe. Don't let this one get away. I sat there eating pot roast and wondering why a successful 32-year-old man would be interested in my sister, who posted inspirational quotes on Instagram and called it a career. But I kept my mouth shut. I'd learned that lesson long ago. What struck me as odd was how secretive Chloe was being. Normally, she overshared everything. Every detail of her life ended up on social media or in long dramatic stories at family dinners. But with Nathan, she was vague. She wouldn't say where they met, wouldn't say what company he worked for or what exactly he did. Just that he was in tech and he was successful and he really liked her. My parents didn't question any of it. They were too excited that Chloe had finally found someone who wasn't a struggling musician or an aspiring influencer with no actual income. I noticed the red flags, though. Chloe being secretive was unusual. Chloe being vague about details meant she was hiding something. I just didn't know what yet. 2 months ago, that started to become clear. It was a Sunday dinner in mid-September. The air was getting crisp, leaves starting to turn orange and gold outside my parents' large windows. I'd driven from my condo in Capitol Hill to their house in Bellevue traffic, crawling the whole way across the bridge. I almost canceled, but my mother had specifically asked me to come. Family dinner, she'd said. Important. When I arrived, Chloe was already there pacing in the kitchen, talking rapidly to our mother. Nathan wasn't coming tonight, but Chloe couldn't stop talking about him. She was so excited, so nervous about making sure everything stayed perfect. That should have been my first clue. We sat down to dinner. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans. Comfort food our mother made when she wanted everyone relaxed and happy. Chloe launched into stories about Nathan, how impressed he was with her, how he loved hearing about her work, how they had so much in common. Then she said something that made my fork freeze halfway to my mouth. He was so interested in my campaign for that outdoor gear company. He said the rebranding strategy was brilliant. I looked up. What campaign? Chloe's face flushed slightly. Oh, that project I consulted on. My blood went cold. I put down my fork carefully. I led that campaign. For Cascade Outfitters. You've never worked with them. You've never consulted on anything for them. My mother jumped in immediately. Does it matter, Belva? It's just conversation. Nathan doesn't need to know every tiny detail. Every tiny detail. I stared at her. She told him she worked on my campaign. That's not a tiny detail. That's a complete lie. My father frowned at me from across the table. You're being nitpicky. So what if she mentioned a project? You're making a big deal out of nothing. But Chloe wasn't done. She kept talking, kept digging the hole deeper. She mentioned how proud she was of her MBA, how all that education really helped her career. I felt like I was in the twilight zone. You dropped out of community college, I said. You don't have an MBA. I have an MBA? From University of Washington. Chloe's flush deepened. I meant I was planning to get one. Eventually. My mother's voice got sharp. Belva, stop interrogating your sister. This is supposed to be a nice dinner. But I couldn't stop, because more lies were coming. Chloe mentioned living in Capitol Hill. That was my neighborhood, my condo. She'd never even visited my place because I'd stopped inviting her after she posted photos from my bathroom last year without asking, tagging the location, and making it look like she lived there. I stay there sometimes, Chloe said weakly when I called her out. You've never stayed at my condo. Not once. My father slammed his hand on the table. Enough. You're ruining dinner with this attitude. But I was just getting started piecing it together. Over the next 20 minutes, as Chloe kept talking nervously, trying to change the subject, but somehow always circling back to Nathan, I realized the scope of what she'd done. She'd told him about accomplishments that were mine, a career that was mine, a lifestyle that was mine. She'd essentially stolen my entire identity and presented it to this man as her own. And my parents knew. They had to know. The way they kept defending her, deflecting my questions, telling me to drop it. They'd been helping her maintain the lie. "You need to tell Nathan the truth," I said finally. "This has to stop. You can't build a relationship on lies." Chloe's eyes filled with tears. Her go-to manipulation tactic since we were kids. "Why can't you just be happy for me for once? Why do you always have to make everything about you?" My mother rushed to hug her. "Look what you've done," she said to me. "She finally meets someone good, someone who respects her, and you're trying to sabotage it." "I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm asking her not to lie about being me." My father's voice was ice. "If you were really successful, Belva, you wouldn't need to tear down your sister. Successful people lift others up." The irony was almost funny. Almost. Here I was, the actual successful one, being told I wasn't successful enough because I objected to having my life stolen. Chloe grabbed my hand across the table, tears streaming down her face. "I just wanted him to be proud of me. You have everything, your career, your apartment, your awards. Can't I have this? Can't I have one thing?" My parents nodded along. Belva had her career. Couldn't she let Chloe have this relationship? Was that really too much to ask? I was outnumbered, 3 against 1, the same dynamic that had defined my entire childhood. I felt the familiar weight of it, the way I always ended up being the bad guy for having boundaries, for objecting, to being treated poorly for existing as someone other than Chloe's supporting character. "Fine," I said finally, "but you need to tone down the lies, and you need to tell him the truth eventually, before this gets too serious." Chloe nodded eagerly. "I will. I promise. Once he knows the real me, once he loves me for me, I'll tell him. I just need a little more time." My parents looked satisfied, crisis averted, their golden child protected from consequences once again. I drove home that night with a knot in my stomach. This was going to end badly. Lies always did. But I told myself it wasn't my problem. Chloe was an adult. She'd face the consequences of her own choices. I had no idea how wrong I was about it not being my problem. Over the next few weeks, Chloe's social media became a carefully constructed alternate reality. Photos at trendy Capitol Hill coffee shops, though she never mentioned which apartment was hers. Posts about work projects that were actually mine. Aesthetic shots of a life that looked successful and put together, all built on a foundation of theft and deception. My parents liked every post, commented on all of them. My mother wrote things like, "So proud of my accomplished daughter." My father shared them with captions about Chloe's bright future. They were all in on it, all complicit in helping her maintain a fake identity. And that fake identity was mine. I watched it happen from the outside, feeling like I was going crazy. Was I really the unreasonable one for objecting to this? Was I really being selfish for wanting credit for my own life? Early November brought the announcement I'd been dreading. Chloe called a family meeting. Nathan was ready to meet everyone. Thanksgiving dinner would be the perfect occasion. My parents went into overdrive. My mother started planning the menu weeks in advance. Turkey, stuffing 3 kinds of pie, homemade cranberry sauce. My father bought expensive wine, the kind he only brought out for important occasions. They discussed how to decorate the house, what topics to discuss, how to make the best impression. And they discussed how to maintain Chloe's lies. That's when things got really ugly. 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, my parents called a family meeting at their house. I showed up expecting to discuss who was bringing what dish or what time dinner would be. Instead, I walked into what felt like a strategy session for a con job. My mother had made a list, actual bullet points on a notepad, topics to discuss with Nathan, topics to avoid, stories to tell, stories to definitely not tell. "We need to make sure this goes perfectly," she said. "Nathan is good for Chloe. We can't let anything ruin this." My father nodded seriously. "That means we all need to be on the same page." The same page meant protecting Chloe's lies. They walked me through their expectations. I was to be supportive, vague about my own career if it came up, not volunteer any information that might contradict what Chloe had told Nathan. I stared at them. "You want me to lie for her. We want you to be diplomatic," my mother said. "Family supports each other. Family doesn't build entire fake identities," I shot back. "Don't be dramatic," my father said. "She's just presenting herself in the best light. Everyone does that when they're dating. There's a difference between putting your best foot forward and stealing someone else's foot entirely." Chloe started crying. Again, "You're so mean. Why do you hate me? I don't hate you. I hate that you're lying to your boyfriend about who you are." My mother put her arm around Chloe. "See what you're doing? You're stressing her out. She's already nervous about Nathan meeting us. Can't you just be kind for once?" The conversation went in circles. Me objecting to being asked to participate in deception. Them insisting I was being difficult and unsupportive. Chloe crying and playing the victim. Eventually, I agreed to a compromise. I wouldn't lie, but I wouldn't volunteer information either. If Nathan asked me direct questions, I'd answer honestly but vaguely. "That's all we're asking," my father said, though his tone suggested it wasn't all they were asking at all. The next 2 weeks were a nightmare of preparation. My mother called me almost daily with updates. The menu changed 3 times. The wine selection changed twice. Chloe came over to practice stories running through her version of events with our parents, like an actress rehearsing lines. I mostly stayed out of it. I went to work, did my job, tried not to think about the disaster brewing for Thanksgiving. But Chloe wouldn't let me ignore it completely. She called constantly. "What if Nathan asks about your job?" What should I say? "Tell him I work in marketing." That's vague enough. But what if he asks what company? Then I'll answer honestly. "I'm not gonna lie, Chloe. You're going to ruin everything." "No, you ruined everything when you decided to pretend to be me." She'd cry. Hang up. Call back an hour later with a new anxiety. It was exhausting. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, things escalated. Chloe asked if I could maybe dress down for dinner, not look too professional. Maybe wear jeans and a sweater instead of anything that screamed successful career woman. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud on the phone. "You want me to look unsuccessful at Thanksgiving?" "Not unsuccessful, just casual, normal. So Nathan doesn't get confused about who's who." "Confused about who's who, Chloe. He should know who's who because you should have told him the truth." She started crying again. "You always make everything about you. This is my relationship, my one chance at happiness. And you can't even dress down for one dinner." I hung up on her. I'd never done that before. But I was done. Completely done. My parents called 30 minutes later. Tag team approach. "Mother first. Your sister is really struggling with anxiety about this dinner. Can't you just accommodate her small requests?" Asking me to pretend to be unsuccessful isn't a small request, Mom. Then my father got on the phone. "If you can't be supportive, maybe you shouldn't come at all." The words hung in the air. A threat, veiled but clear. "Cooperate or don't come." "I'll come," I said slowly. "And I'll be polite. But I won't lie. If Nathan asks me direct questions about my life, I'll answer truthfully. That's the best I can do." I could hear them discussing in the background, hands over the phone, but not well enough. Finally, my father came back on. "That's acceptable. Just try not to volunteer information." "I won't volunteer anything, but I won't participate in deception either." We hung up. I felt sick. My own parents were choosing my sister's lies over my truth. They were willing to threaten to exclude me rather than ask her to be honest. The week before Thanksgiving brought a new crisis. I received an email at work. Our company's PR department forwarding an interview request from Seattle Tech Monthly, a respected industry publication. They wanted to interview me about my award-winning campaign and my career trajectory as a young female director in tech marketing. I was thrilled. This was huge. National exposure, industry recognition, the kind of press that could open doors for years to come. I immediately replied yes and scheduled the interview for the week after Thanksgiving. Then I read the details. The article would publish in December. It would include photos, a full career profile, my job title, my company, the neighborhood where I lived, everything. I called my mother to share the exciting news temporarily, forgetting the minefield I was navigating. "Mom, guess what Seattle Tech Monthly wants to interview me? It's a huge publication. This could really boost my career." Silence on the other end. Then, "When does it come out?" "December." Why? More silence. I could practically hear her thinking. "Does it mention where you live?" "It'll probably say Capitol Hill." "Yeah, that's pretty standard for these profiles." "Why does that matter?" Her voice got tight. "Nathan might see it. He'll know Chloe lied about living there." Reality crashed back. Of course, everything circled back to protecting Chloe's lies. Mom, that's Chloe's problem to solve. This is my career. I'm not turning down a major interview because my sister lied to her boyfriend. Think about your sister for once. This could ruin her relationship. Her relationship is built on lies. Maybe it should be ruined. She gasped like I'd slapped her, then hung up. I stood there holding my phone stunned. My mother had just hung up on me for being excited about a career achievement because it threatened Chloe's deception. That was on a Friday, 4 days before Thanksgiving. I went to work on Monday, still reeling from the conversation. Around 10 a.m., my phone rang, my father, calling during business hours, which he never did. I stepped into a conference room to take the call. "We've discussed it," he said without preamble. "We think it's best if you don't come to Thanksgiving this year." The words didn't compute at first. "What you heard me. Your presence will create unnecessary stress for your sister. It's better if you sit this one out. You're uninviting me from Thanksgiving. Don't be dramatic. We'll do something with you another time. But this dinner is important for Chloe. We need to support her. I'm being uninvited because I'm successful. Because I got interviewed for my actual accomplishments. You're being uninvited because you can't seem to put your sister's needs ahead of your own ego for one dinner. That interview. You did it to embarrass Chloe. I did it because it's my career. This has nothing to do with Chloe. Everything with you is always about your career. One holiday. Let Chloe have one holiday where she's the focus. She's always the focus. I wanted to scream it, but kept my voice level. So I'm not welcome at family Thanksgiving because I won't participate in her lies. Think of it as giving your sister space to build her relationship without your competitive energy interfering. Competitive energy. I closed my eyes. After 29 years, they still saw me as the problem, the difficult one, the one who needed to be managed and contained so Chloe could shine. "Fine," I said quietly. "Enjoy your dinner." I hung up before he could say anything else. I sat in that empty conference room for 20 minutes staring at the wall, uninvited from Thanksgiving, by my own parents, because I wouldn't pretend to be less than I was to make my sister's lies more believable. I called my best friend Jordan. We'd been friends since college roommates for 2 years, and she knew my family history better than anyone. She answered on the first ring. "What's wrong?" "You never called during work hours." I told her everything, the lies, the demands, the uninvitation. When I finished, there was silence. Then Jordan exploded. "They what? They uninvited you for being successful, Belva. That's insane." "That's actually insane. I know." "What are you going to do? Spend Thanksgiving alone, I guess. Watch movies, order Chinese food. Pretend I don't have a family who values lies over truth. You could come to my parents' place. My mom already said you're always welcome." I appreciated the offer but declined. I needed to process this alone. Needed to sit with the reality that my family would rather exclude me than ask Chloe to be honest. The next few days crawled by. I went to work, came home, tried not to think about Thanksgiving approaching. But it was everywhere. Colleagues discussing their plans. Grocery stores full of turkeys and stuffing mix. Social media filled with gratitude posts and family photos. And Chloe's Instagram was the worst. Photos of ingredients she was supposedly preparing. Her famous stuffing, the caption read, "Though the recipe was our grandmother's, and she taught it to me, not Chloe." Hashtags about family and gratitude and being blessed. Comments poured in from her friends. "You're so talented. Lucky Nathan getting to experience this. Can't wait to see pics of the dinner." My mother liked the post, shared it, commented. "So proud of my girl." I almost commented the truth right there. Almost typed out, "Chloe didn't make this, doesn't even know how." But I stopped myself. What would be the point? They'd made their choice. Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I did my grocery shopping. A sad frozen dinner for one. Ice cream, wine, everything I needed for a solo holiday. Wednesday afternoon, I was at my desk working when an email popped up. The sender was Marcus Chen, a colleague at a partner company. We'd worked together on a few joint projects, knew each other professionally, but weren't close friends. The subject line read, "Quick question about Cascade Outfitters campaign." I opened it. "Hey, Belva, weird question. My buddy Nathan is dating someone who claims she led the Cascade campaign. I thought that was you. Her name is Chloe Thompson. Any relation?" My heart stopped. Nathan, my sister's Nathan. Marcus knew Nathan. I read the email 3 more times, my mind racing. Marcus knew Nathan. Seattle's tech scene was small interconnected. Of course they knew each other. And Nathan had mentioned Chloe's supposed accomplishments to his friend. Who knew they were actually mine? I could end this right now. One email to Marcus confirming that yes, Chloe is my sister, and no, she didn't lead that campaign. I did. Marcus would tell Nathan. The lies would unravel before Thanksgiving dinner even happened. My finger hovered over the reply button, but something stopped me. Maybe it was years of being told I was the problem. Maybe it was exhaustion from always being the villain in their story. Maybe I just wanted to see what would happen if I let the truth reveal itself naturally, instead of being the one to force it. I typed a careful response. Chloe is my sister. I led the Cascade campaign. Interesting. Then I added might want to give him a heads up before Thanksgiving tomorrow. Nathan seems like a good guy. I hit send before I could second guess myself. Marcus replied within minutes. Thought so. Thanks for confirming. I'll reach out to him. I closed my laptop and sat back in my chair. Whatever happened now was out of my hands. I told the truth when asked directly, which I'd always said I would do. If Nathan found out before Thanksgiving, that was on Chloe for lying in the first place. My phone rang an hour later. My mother. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. By the time I left work, I had 17 missed calls. From my mother, my father, and Chloe. Multiple voicemails, each one more panicked than the last. I listened to them in my car before starting the engine. My mother's first message. How could you? How could you tell Nathan's friend about Chloe? I hadn't told Nathan's friend anything. He'd asked me a question, and I'd answered honestly. But somehow I was the villain again. The messages escalated. My father's voice angry and sharp. You destroyed your sister's happiness. I hope you're proud of yourself. Chloe's voice sobbing. I hate you. I'll never forgive you for this. You ruined my life. But the last message also from Chloe was different. Still crying, but desperate instead of angry. Belva, please call me back. Please. I need your help. This is an emergency. I almost deleted it without calling back. Almost. But curiosity got the better of me. What could possibly be an emergency after they'd spent the day blaming me for their own mess, I called her. She answered on the first ring. Belva, thank God. Please, you have to help me. Help you with what Nathan just told me his friend Marcus works with you. He's asking questions. He wants to meet you. At Thanksgiving tomorrow. The irony was so thick I almost laughed. So now I'm invited to Thanksgiving, please. I'm begging you. Everything is falling apart. You have to come and help me fix this. Fix what? The lies you told. Please don't tell him the truth, please. I'll do anything. Anything except be honest with your boyfriend. She started sobbing harder. I can't lose him. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. Then tell him the truth. Explain that you lied because you were insecure. See if he's understanding. He won't understand, he'll leave me. Then maybe you shouldn't have lied in the first place. My mother grabbed the phone. Belva, you need to come tomorrow and fix the situation. Fix it how? Support your sister. Help her through this. The entitlement was breathtaking. They'd uninvited me 4 days ago. Now they needed me to come save Chloe from the consequences of her own actions. I'll think about it, I said, and hung up. I sat in my car in the parking garage, hands shaking slightly. This was it. This was the moment everything came to a head. I could stay home, let them deal with their mess alone. Or I could go and watch it all fall apart in person. The petty part of me, the part that had been overlooked and dismissed and scapegoated my entire life, really wanted to see it fall apart in person. I texted Chloe. I'll come to Thanksgiving. 3 p.m. like originally planned. Her response was immediate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please don't say anything to Nathan. I didn't reply. I'd made no promises about what I would or wouldn't say. I'd simply agreed to show up. I went home, poured a glass of wine, and tried to imagine how tomorrow would go. Nathan would be there expecting to meet Chloe's successful sister, the sister whose accomplishments Chloe had stolen. What would he say when he realized the truth? What would my parents do when their carefully constructed fiction collapsed? I went to bed that night with something I hadn't felt in weeks: anticipation. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up early, made coffee, took a long shower, did my makeup carefully. I chose my outfit with intention. Black pants, a silk blouse, professional, but not overdressed. I looked exactly like what I was, a successful marketing director who owned her own condo and won awards for her work. I was not dressing down, not hiding, not shrinking myself to make Chloe's lies more comfortable. Around noon, my phone started ringing. Chloe panicked voicemails. Nathan had texted that morning. Marcus had confirmed I was the one who led the Cascade campaign. Nathan had questions. He wanted to talk to me directly. Chloe's messages became increasingly frantic. Please call me. Please help me. I don't know what to tell him. Everything is falling apart. I didn't call back. I finished my coffee, read the news, took my time getting ready. At 1 p.m., I got in my car and drove to Bellevue. Traffic was light on Thanksgiving Day. The drive took 30 minutes instead of the usual 45. I parked in front of my parents' house at 1:30, a full hour and a half before Nathan was scheduled to arrive. My mother opened the door before I even knocked. She pulled me inside so hard I almost stumbled. Chloe is upstairs having a complete breakdown, she hissed. Your father is furious with you. This is all your fault. I stepped into the house. The dining room was set like a magazine spread. Expensive china cloth napkins folded into elaborate shapes, fall centerpieces with real gourds and mini pumpkins. The turkey was probably already in the oven, filling the house with that classic Thanksgiving smell. All this effort for a lie. How is this my fault? I asked calmly. I answered a colleague's question honestly. That's all. My father appeared from the kitchen, his face red. You couldn't just keep your mouth shut. You had to ruin everything. I didn't ruin anything. Chloe lied. Now she's facing consequences. That's how life works. Chloe came running down the stairs, her eyes swollen from crying. She looked terrible. Makeup smeared hair, messy face, blotchy. Please, Belva, please help me. When Nathan gets here, just go along with what I say. Please. My mother and father flanked her like bodyguards. We need to get our story straight, my mother said. We have 2 hours to figure this out. What they meant was 2 hours to coordinate more lies, to figure out how to explain away the inconsistencies to maintain the fiction that Chloe was someone she wasn't. They all started talking at once, my mother suggesting we say we both worked on the campaign together. My father proposing we tell Nathan that Chloe consulted on various projects under different names for privacy. Chloe just crying and begging me not to contradict anything. I stood in the middle of their beautiful decorated living room and listened to them plan their deception. Finally, I spoke. I'll be honest. If Nathan asks me questions, I'll answer them truthfully. That's all I can promise you. Chloe's face crumpled. You're going to ruin my life. You ruined your own life when you decided to lie about being me. My mother stepped forward, her voice shaking. Why do you have to be so difficult just this once? Can't you support your sister? Support her in lying to someone who might actually care about her. No. My father's voice dropped to a dangerous level. If you ruin this dinner, don't expect to be welcome in this house again. The threat hung in the air. Final. Absolute. Choose Chloe's lies or lose your family. I looked at each of them. My mother, who'd always chosen Chloe over me. My father, who'd always dismissed my accomplishments. Chloe, who'd stolen my identity and was now demanding I help her maintain the theft. Maybe I was never really welcome here to begin with, I said quietly. The doorbell rang. We all froze. It was only 2 p.m. Nathan wasn't supposed to be here until 3. He's early, Chloe whispered, her face going white. My mother rushed to the mirror, checking her appearance. My father straightened his shirt. Chloe looked like she might pass out. Should I get that? I asked. No, Chloe practically shouted. I'll get it. Just, please, Belva, please don't say anything. I sat down on the couch and watched her walk to the door like she was heading to her own execution. She opened it. Nathan stood there, holding wine and flowers, smiling warmly. He was tall, maybe 6 feet 1 inch, wearing glasses that gave him a friendly, intelligent look. Button-down shirt, nice jeans, polished shoes. He looked exactly like what Chloe had described: successful, put together, genuinely kind. Chloe, hi. Sorry I'm early. I finished helping my mom with her dinner and thought I'd head over. Hope that's okay. Of course, of course. Chloe's voice was too high, too bright. Come in. He stepped inside, handed her the flowers, greeted my parents warmly. Then his eyes swept the room and landed on me. Everything stopped. His expression shifted from polite smile to surprise, to confusion, to recognition, all in the space of 3 seconds. Then he said the words that made my entire family's plan implode. Belva, Belva Thompson. I stood up slowly. Hello, Nathan. His face lit up with genuine excitement. I didn't know. Chloe, you didn't mention your sister was Belva Thompson. Chloe's laugh was strangled. Didn't I? Must have slipped my mind. Nathan turned to me, practically glowing with enthusiasm. Your sister is the Belva Thompson, the Cascade Outfitters campaign. I heard you speak at the Tech Marketing Summit last spring. Your presentation on authentic brand storytelling was incredible. I took like 20 pages of notes. My parents' faces had gone pale. Chloe looked like she wanted the floor to open and swallow her whole. Thank you, I said calmly. That's very kind. Nathan was still talking, the words tumbling out. When Marcus mentioned he worked with someone named Thompson on marketing projects, I had no idea it was your sister. This is such a small world. I can't believe I'm dating into your family. He turned to Chloe, smiling. Why didn't you tell me your sister was in marketing too? That's such a cool connection. You two must have so much to talk about. Chloe's mouth opened, closed. No words came out. Nathan looked between us, starting to sense something was wrong. Then he turned back to me. Chloe told me about the Cascade campaign. I'd love to hear more about it from your perspective. You know, since you both worked on it together. The room went silent. Absolutely silent. You could have heard a pin drop on the expensive hardwood floors my parents had refinished last year. My mother's eyes were begging me. Don't do it. Don't tell him, please. My father's face was a warning. If you do this, you're dead to us. Chloe's expression was pure terror, and Nathan stood there, innocent and smiling, waiting for me to respond. I made my choice. I smiled at Nathan. Actually, I'd love to talk about that campaign. Would you like the honest version or the version you've been told? Nathan's smile faltered. Confusion crossed his face. What do you mean? I took a breath. Here we go. Chloe didn't work on the Cascade campaign. I did. Solo. It was my project from the initial pitch all the way through execution and measurement. Chloe made us sound like a wounded animal. Belva, don't. I kept my eyes on Nathan. She's never worked with Cascade Outfitters. She's never worked in marketing beyond posting on Instagram for a yoga studio. Nathan's face went from confused to shocked. He looked at Chloe. What is she talking about? Chloe's tears started immediately. Her failsafe. That's not true. I helped. I consulted. She's exaggerating. But I was just getting started. The MBA you told him about. That's mine. University of Washington. I graduated 3 years ago with a 3.9 GPA while working full-time. Nathan took a step back. You said you had an MBA? Chloe was sobbing now, but I continued. The Capitol Hill condo mine. I bought it 2 years ago after saving for a down payment for 5 years. I pulled out my phone, pulled up my company website, showed Nathan my photo next to my title, Marketing Director, showed him the award announcement from the Pacific Northwest Marketing Association, my face, my name, my achievement, the career, the accomplishments, the lifestyle she's described to you. All mine, every single detail. She's been pretending to be me for the past 3 months. Nathan stared at the phone screen, then at Chloe, then back at me. His face had gone from friendly and warm to completely closed off. Is this true? He asked Chloe. My mother jumped in. Belva, you've made your point. Have I? Because you all uninvited me from Thanksgiving 4 days ago specifically to protect these lies. I turned to Nathan. They told me not to come because my presence would create stress for Chloe, because the truth might come out. Nathan looked at my parents. You knew about this. The silence was damning. My father's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping. My mother had tears in her eyes but said nothing. Nathan turned back to Chloe. You told me you lived in Capitol Hill. I stay there sometimes. Chloe tried weakly. You've never been to my condo, I corrected. Not once. You don't even know which building I live in. Nathan's voice got quieter, more dangerous. The campaign you described to me in detail. The client meetings, the strategy sessions, the creative development. Chloe was crying too hard to answer. All of that was her, Nathan said, pointing at me. Wasn't it? Chloe couldn't even nod. She just stood there sobbing while her entire fabricated identity crumbled around her. My father finally found his voice. Belva, you've ruined Thanksgiving. I hope you're satisfied. Nathan whirled on him. No. She told the truth. Chloe ruined Thanksgiving by lying to me for 3 months. My mother tried to salvage it. Young people exaggerate when they're dating. It's normal. She just wanted to impress you. Exaggerate, Nathan's voice rose. She didn't exaggerate. She wholesale invented a different person. She claimed her sister's entire life as her own. He turned to Chloe, and I could see the hurt in his eyes beneath the anger. Who are you? Actually, who are you? Because everything you've told me is a lie. I wanted you to be proud of me, Chloe sobbed. I wanted to be someone worthy of you, so you pretended to be your sister. I just wanted you to like me. I did like you. Nathan's voice cracked. I liked Chloe, the person I met at that coffee shop who was funny and sweet and talked about teaching yoga and finding her path. I didn't need you to be a marketing director. I didn't need you to have an MBA. I just needed you to be honest. The room went quiet except for Chloe's crying. You lied about where you live, what you do, your education, your career, your accomplishments. Nathan shook his head. What was real anything? Chloe reached for him. Please, let me explain. Explain what? That you're not who you said you were, that your family helped you lie to me. He looked at my parents again. You knew. You all knew, and you helped her do this. My mother's face was red. We were protecting our daughter. By helping her commit fraud, by stealing her sister's identity. My father stepped forward. I think you should leave. Nathan laughed bitterly. I'm already leaving. Don't worry. He turned to me. I'm sorry you got caught in the middle of this, and I'm sorry they uninvited you from Thanksgiving to keep up a lie. He shook his head, apparently unable to find words. Thank you, I said quietly. And I'm sorry you were lied to. For what it's worth, you seem like a genuinely good person. He nodded, then looked at Chloe one last time. I really did like you. The real you that I thought I was getting to know. I'm sorry you didn't think that was enough. Chloe grabbed his arm. Nathan, please. Don't go. I can change. I can be better. He gently removed her hand. I hope you can. For your own sake. But I can't be part of this. He walked to the door, paused, turned back. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope it was worth it. Then he was gone. The door closed quietly behind him, which somehow felt worse than if he'd slammed it. Silence filled the house. Heavy, suffocating. The turkey timer went off in the kitchen, absurdly cheerful. Then Chloe turned on me. You ruined my life. She screamed it, her face red and twisted. I hate you. You always ruin everything. Why can't you just let me be happy? I didn't ruin your life, Chloe. You did that when you decided to lie to someone who actually cared about you. My mother was crying now too. How could you do this? On Thanksgiving to your own sister. The hypocrisy was stunning. You uninvited me 4 days ago. You threatened to disown me if I told the truth. And now I'm the villain for not protecting her lies. My father's voice was cold as ice. Get out! Get out of this house and don't come back! Chloe was still screaming. I hope you're happy. I hope you're so proud of yourself. You always have to win. You always have to be better than me. I'm not trying to be better than you, I said tiredly. I'm just trying to be myself. And I'm tired of apologizing for that. I grabbed my coat from the chair where I'd left it. My mother made a sound like she might say something, but my father put his hand on her arm. Don't, he said. She's made her choice. I walked to the door, turned back one last time. You're right. I have made my choice. I choose truth over lies. I choose self-respect over being diminished so someone else can feel big. I choose not to shrink myself anymore. Chloe lunged toward me, but my father caught her. You're dead to me. You hear me? Dead. I opened the door. The cool November air hit my face crisp and clean. Yeah, I said quietly. I hear you. I walked to my car without looking back, got in, started the engine, drove away from that house with its perfectly set table and its turkey in the oven and its family built on lies and favoritism and conditional love. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I waited until I was 3 blocks away before I pulled over. Sat in a random neighborhood with Thanksgiving decorations on every house, families gathering inside, the smell of turkey and pie drifting through the air. And I started to laugh. Not happy laughter, something between laughter and crying, relief mixed with grief, freedom mixed with loss. I picked up my phone, called Jordan. She answered immediately. How did it go? It was spectacular, I said. Absolutely spectacular. I drove to Jordan's house. Her family welcomed me with hugs and questions and a plate piled high with food. I told them the whole story over pumpkin pie. And Jordan's mother kept saying, "Oh, honey," and shaking her head. "You did the right thing," Jordan's father said. "Truth always matters more than peace." I spent the evening with people who liked me for who I actually was, who celebrated my success instead of asking me to hide it, who thought my accomplishments were impressive instead of threatening. And for the first time in years, I felt like maybe, just maybe, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The days after Thanksgiving were quiet, eerily quiet. No calls from my family, no texts, no messages on social media, just silence. I went back to work on Monday. My interview with Seattle Tech Monthly was scheduled for Wednesday. I did it with a clear conscience and enthusiasm I hadn't felt in months. The journalist was impressed. The photographer made me look professional and confident, and the article was set to publish in 2 weeks. On Friday, 3 days after the disaster dinner, I got a LinkedIn message from Nathan. "Hi, Belva. I hope it's okay that I'm reaching out. I wanted to apologize for the awkward situation on Thanksgiving." I had no idea walking into that. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. "You have nothing to apologize for. You were the one who was lied to. I'm sorry my family put you in that position." His response came quickly. "I appreciate you telling me the truth. I know it probably wasn't easy, especially with family pressure. For what it's worth, I looked up more of your work after I left. Your portfolio is really impressive. If you ever want to grab coffee and talk shop, I'd enjoy hearing more about your approach to brand storytelling. Strictly professional, of course." I smiled at my screen. I'd like that. We met for coffee the following Tuesday, at a place in Capitol Hill not far from my actual condo. We talked about marketing, about the tech industry, about the challenges of authentic storytelling in an age of curated social media personas. It was refreshing, easy. He was intelligent and thoughtful and seemed to genuinely value honesty, which made sense given what he'd just been through. He never mentioned Chloe directly, but at the end, as we were leaving, he said something that stuck with me. "I really did like her, the person I thought I was getting to know. But I can't build something real with someone who won't show me who they really are." I nodded. "That's fair. And honestly, you deserve better than someone who lies about their entire identity." "So do you," he said pointedly, "family or not." We stayed in touch, professional contacts that occasionally grabbed lunch or coffee. Nothing romantic, just mutual respect between two people in the same industry. But it felt good to know that something positive had come from the disaster. Meanwhile, my family's silence continued. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Christmas came and went without a word. I sent my parents a card, didn't expect a response, didn't get one. Jordan asked if I missed them. I thought about it carefully before answering. I miss who I thought they were. I miss the idea of having a family that celebrated me instead of diminishing me. But the actual people, the ones who helped my sister steal my identity and then blamed me for telling the truth, I don't think I miss them at all. My mother broke the silence 6 weeks after Thanksgiving. A text message at 11 p.m. on a random Tuesday. "Your sister is in therapy. She's been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I hope you're happy." I stared at the message. The manipulation was almost beautiful in its audacity. Chloe's mental health issues were somehow my fault, not the result of her own choices and lies, mine for refusing to enable them. I didn't respond. Another text came 3 days later. From my father this time. "Your mother is devastated. Your sister won't leave her room. Family is supposed to forgive. When are you going to apologize?" Apologize. For telling the truth. For refusing to lie, for existing as a successful person instead of pretending to be less. I blocked both their numbers. February brought the publication of the Seattle Tech Monthly article. 3 full pages, gorgeous photos, in-depth interview about my career and approach. My company shared it on all their social media. My colleagues congratulated me. My boss mentioned it in a team meeting as an example of the kind of thought leadership we should all aspire to. The article mentioned my age, my neighborhood, my condo, my award, my education. Everything Chloe had claimed as her own was there in print, attributed correctly to me. I wondered if she saw it, if Nathan saw it, if my parents did. I didn't check Chloe's social media. I'd unfollowed her, unfriended her, removed her from my digital life as thoroughly as she'd removed herself from my physical one. But Jordan told me later that Chloe had deleted most of her Instagram, removed all the posts from Capitol Hill, all the career talk, all the aspirational content. Her feed now showed just yoga poses and inspirational quotes about healing and finding yourself. Good, I thought. Maybe she's actually finding herself now, the real version, not the stolen one. 3 months after Thanksgiving, I got an unexpected call from an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, is this Belva Thompson? A woman's voice. Unfamiliar. Yes. Who's this? My name is Patricia. I'm a therapist. I have a client who would like to speak with you with your permission. Is it all right if I put her on the line? My stomach dropped. I knew exactly who the client was. Before I could answer, Chloe's voice came through. Small, hesitant. Nothing like the screaming, crying person from Thanksgiving. Belva, hi. I I know you don't want to talk to me, but my therapist thought it might help if I tried to. She trailed off. Tried to, what, apologize? Actually apologize. Not the fake kind where I blame you or make excuses. A real one. I sat down on my couch. I'm listening. I was wrong. Everything I did was wrong. I lied to Nathan. I lied to myself. I stole your life because I didn't think mine was good enough. And when you called me out on it, I made you the villain because that was easier than admitting what I'd done. Silence. I didn't fill it. I've been in therapy for 2 months now, Chloe continued, working through why I felt like I had to be you instead of me, why mom and dad's favoritism made me feel entitled to anything I wanted, why I thought lying was okay as long as it made people like me. What do you want from me, Chloe? Nothing. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect us to be sisters again. I just wanted you to know that I'm working on myself, that I understand now how badly I hurt you, how wrong it all was. I closed my eyes. Part of me wanted to hang up. Part of me wanted to yell at her. Part of me, the part that remembered us as kids before everything got complicated, felt something soften. Thank you for saying that, I said finally. I hope therapy helps you. Me too. She paused. For what it's worth, I saw your interview in Seattle Tech Monthly. You're really amazing at what you do. I was proud, not jealous, just proud. We hung up shortly after. I sat there processing the conversation for a long time. Jordan came over that night. I told her about the call. Do you believe her? Jordan asked. I think I believe she's trying, I said. Whether she actually changes or not, time will tell. But at least she acknowledged what she did. Are you going to reconcile with your family? I thought about it, really thought about it. No, not unless things change fundamentally. An apology from Chloe doesn't erase my parents choosing her lies over my truth. It doesn't erase being uninvited from Thanksgiving. It doesn't erase 29 years of being made to feel like my accomplishments were a problem. Jordan nodded. You deserve better. Yeah, I said. I really do. 6 months after Thanksgiving, I'm sitting in my Capitol Hill condo on a Saturday morning drinking coffee and reading the news. My phone buzzes. A text from a number I don't recognize. Hi, Belva. This is Chloe. I know you blocked my old number. I got a new phone. I wanted to let you know I got accepted into community college. I'm going back to finish my degree in studio art. My therapist helped me realize I actually love art, not marketing or business or any of the things I thought I should love. Anyway, I just wanted you to know. You don't have to respond. I stare at the message for a long time. Then I type, That's great, Chloe. Good luck. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then thank you. I mean it. I don't respond again. But I don't delete the message either. Another month passes. My parents don't reach out. Jordan says my mother asked about me through a mutual friend, asked how I was doing, if I was happy. But she never contacted me directly. I am happy, though. Genuinely happy for the first time in years. My career is thriving. I got another promotion. Bigger team, bigger budget, bigger challenges. I'm being flown to conferences to speak about brand strategy. Companies are reaching out asking me to consult. I go on dates, nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it. I have friends who value me, colleagues who respect me. A life I built myself for myself without needing anyone's permission or approval. And I'm learning what family really means. It's not just blood. It's not just the people you grew up with. It's the people who show up for you, who celebrate your success instead of resenting it, who tell you the truth even when it's hard, who don't ask you to shrink yourself so they can feel bigger. Sometimes I think about that Thanksgiving dinner, the moment Nathan said my name and everything fell apart. I don't regret it, not even a little bit. Chloe needed to face consequences. My parents needed to see that their favoritism had real costs, and I needed to stop sacrificing my truth for their comfort. The hardest lesson I've learned is this: some families will celebrate your light. They'll be proud when you shine. They'll want you to succeed because your success makes them happy. Other families will try to dim your light so someone else can seem brighter. They'll ask you to hide your accomplishments. They'll make you feel guilty for being good at something. They'll choose comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths. Know the difference. And don't be afraid to walk away from the ones who choose darkness. I'm 30 years old now, 6 months past that disaster dinner, building a life that's entirely mine, no lies, no stolen identity, no shrinking myself to make others comfortable. And you know what? It's the most peaceful I've ever been. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to choose between family peace and your own truth? Have you ever been made to feel bad for succeeding? What did you do? How did it turn out? Drop your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If this resonated with you, if you've been through something similar or know someone who has hit that like button, subscribe to this channel for more real stories about family boundaries and finding yourself when the people who should support you don't. And share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to stand up for yourself, even when everyone else tells you you're wrong. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope it helps someone out there who's struggling with the decision to tell the truth, even when it costs them relationships. I hope it reminds you that your accomplishments aren't something to apologize for, that you deserve people in your life who are genuinely proud of who you are, not threatened by it. Take care of yourselves, set those boundaries, protect your truth, and remember, real family doesn't ask you to be less, so they can feel like more. Until next time, wishing you the courage to shine as brightly as you're meant to, and the wisdom to surround yourself with people who hand you a spotlight instead of asking you to turn off the lights.